Welcome everyone. Long time no see. Well, winter is coming. And so people start to wear these really ugly jackets again. Ugly jackets? Let me explain what I mean. But first, you know the drill, dramatic intro. Well, in summer, trousers couldn't be short enough. For some people, everyone is preparing for the winter coat right now. For this, the inclined modern adventurer grabs his high-tech polyester clothing from the closet. But is this really necessary? Traditional garments made of natural materials offer a wide range of possibilities and functions. They are also a safe bank in terms of style. Synthetic fibers, on the other hand, are more comfortable to care for and more practical. At least that's the common argument. I would like to shed light on this supposed usefulness and make a plea for sustainability, for natural fibers, and of course, for good style. Let us compare the materials wool and polyester. Here one could argue in favor of functional clothing made from polyester, at least not a sweatpants slabby look optimized for comfort. That's true. But at least the cotton jersey used in sweatpants is a natural fiber. Polyester fabrics are usually made by melting a petrol-based plastic mass, and this plastic mass is then spun into long fibers and finally woven. The shape and thickness of the fibers is very flexible, and thus is the shape and thickness of the fabric. Instead of synthetic fibers, the stylish traditionalist, like I would like to call myself, prefers to wear fabrics made of sheep's wool, such as tweed or flannel. Strictly speaking, tweed is a hand-woven cloth made of coarse wool yarn. The thick threads make the cloth breathable and resistant. Clothing made of tweed is therefore not only literally balm for the eyes of fabric lovers, but actually contains lanolin. This ingredient, also known as wool wax, is also found in most wound healing ointments. Lanolin ensures that the wool repels water, completely without any petrol or polymers with an ester function. Another positive aspect of natural fibers is that they are biodegradable, because every cycle of the washing machine rinses a lot of fibers out of a clothing into our groundwater and ultimately into the rivers and seas. While cotton or wool fibers soon decompose, synthetic fibers do not. Among other things, they end up in the stomachs of fish, and thus ultimately on our plates, at least in case you're eating fish. When I think of eating Christmas food with salmon, for example, I do lose my appetite immediately. You can even make windbreakers without synthetic fibers. The process of making wool windproof is called fulling. And this technique is older than the Bible. One result of this is, for example, the German Walkloden. During fulling, the wool becomes matted and dense. Fulled fabrics are still breathable though, a characteristic that seems to be something special with products made out of polyester fabrics and is advertised accordingly. If manufacturers now imitate the properties of natural fibers with synthetics, we should certainly ask ourselves, why not use the natural original? Loden, whether fulled or not, belongs to the category of fabrics made of woolen yarn, just like tweed. Unlike worsted fabrics, the sheep's wool is just coarsely combed before being spun and woven. This leaves small nodes and other irregularities in the fibers, which ultimately give Loden and tweed their characteristic appearance. It also makes these fabrics fuller than, for example, the worsted fabrics mentioned before, which no longer have any irregularities. In everyday life, you often meet people who combine garments made of wool and polyester. I find this stylistically questionable and sometimes even absurd. The classic example are bank employees, at least in Germany, who, because of the cold, put a functional jacket over their suit made of the finest wool. In my experience, the typical German suit wearer has an affinity for numbers and is tempted in the department or clothing store by little text sewn into the suit jacket. The signs say S160 or Super 200, for example. That sounds valuable, but what does it really mean? Super 160 means that 160 meters of the yarn used weigh 1 gram. You probably already know that. It's not a synonym for quality, but simply stands for the fineness of the yarn. Such thin fabrics have a few disadvantages actually. They crease faster and usually they don't keep you warm. The lack of thermal insulation of the thin suit fabric must be compensated in winter. Unfortunately, often by a polyester jacket. Those who are not afraid of the Michelin man's appearance also like to choose a feather down jacket. The result is a stylistic catastrophe in my opinion. Cheap copies stink wet quickly since the feathers used were often not properly prepared because of mass production, and let's not talk about how cruel the birds are treated in this industry. On top of that, functional jackets are often too short, shorter than the jacket of the suit. My advice, either you choose a warmer suit jacket, for example, made of tweed or flannel, or you put a wool coat over your jacket. That looks better. And generally, layering is not only good for heat insulation. When the layers match somehow, it gives depth to the outfit. Ask anybody. So much for fabrics and outerwear. Footwear is an equally difficult topic. Even if one refrains from the fashionable failures such as the typical German sandal-sock combination, mixtures of synthetic materials now dominate on the foot as well. Sure, you don't need to care for plastic shoes like you need to for leather ones. Leather, which is animal skin that has been made durable by tanning, needs similar care, just like our human skin. It must be kept clean, nourished, and protected against external influences. But if you take this into account, your leather shoes will last a lifetime. Plastic shoes just don't. A care routine with saddle soap, grease, and wax sounds annoying, but also brings something meditative. Some people even elevate mirror shining to a hobby of its own. Good leather shoes are welted or double-stitched, but certainly not glued. This makes them more durable and easier to repair. For the record, synthetic fiber clothing is the result of technical innovations. These are often motivated by the military or professional sports. It's also obvious to choose the perfect tool and material for both national defense or on the way to your best time. However, most functional jacket wearers have nothing to do with either the military or professional sports. They do not climb Mount Everest, just an office building with stairs. For me, the joy of nature, style, and experience is the focus of attention. And I think one should celebrate this joy. Taking the time to care for your clothes, shoes, and equipment is so much more luxurious than any quickly purchased high-performance equipment. Do you agree? Or do you still hold on to certain polyester clothing? I will not judge, trust me. Just let me know in the comment section, I'm curious. Okay, that's it. Hopefully I can go back to making videos on a regular basis now. You might have seen that we moved. My room is already in a good shape, but not finished yet. The 2 chairs in the back, well, 2 chairs in the back will be used for interview setups, I hope. And I absolutely want to do a live stream in exactly 2 weeks actually, to celebrate my first year on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to stay tuned on this. Thank you so much for your support so far and see you soon.